Hi guys, welcome back to Hair Dry Treatment. Ladies in Red is back on a different note, but still the same show. The girls are back and buzzing to say that we've got a full house tonight. I'll start with you, Emma. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. It's just raining and horrible, but I'm all good.
Yeah, it's the same here in Wolverhampton. Horrible weather today, but we're here and football is back, so keeps the mood up, doesn't it? Zarah, how are you doing? And thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Doing all right, in a happy mood like all United fans should be. So that's the way to be.
Of course, all smiling at the minute. I love that. And we're going to talk about a clip that's made us smile as well today in a minute. Meg, how are you doing?
I'm all good. I was just thinking, Zara is the epitome of a lady in red. Look at her.
Yes.
Dressed in red. I feel like we've all gone for dark colours, and she's gone for a full red dress. Okay, we'll go and get it then. Sorry. I've got another little lady right there. Are you coming to say hello?
Here's little Lila.
Hello,
Lila.
Hi, See, we have a little lady in red now.
Lady in red.
So we have a new generation.
Meg is training her up well, definitely. But yeah, Meg, thank you for coming on again. I know we were talking the other day about the match against Bournemouth. We're going to review that in a minute, but we're smiling at United at the moment, aren't we? Everything is positive.
We are indeed.
Love that. And Nicole, how are you?
I'm all good, plodding on. Like Emma said, it's raining, but what else to expect? Just got to keep going, ain't you? Just keep swimming.
Exactly, keep going, keep plodding along with it. But yeah, 5-2. We had plenty of goals on Saturday. Obviously, it's my birthday as well, so I was buzzing with the fact that we had plenty of goals. It was a nice little present. I said I wanted Rashford to score. Rashford scored as well, so I was absolutely buzzing with that. But on the whole, I'll start with you, Zara. What did you think about the performance?
I thought it was good. I honestly, I have to say, I think it was the first time that United kind of looked like they were something to other teams, something that was like a force to be reckoned with. And I feel like it was kind of like a wake-up call to all the other teams going, you know what, this new United era could be something that is a little bit dangerous and a little bit back to the old days, dare I say it. And I think it's kind of got every United fan excited for something new and that kind of new hope in all the next United fixtures.
Yeah, definitely. And we haven't seen us score 5 goals at home for a long time. So that was a pleasant surprise. Obviously, we scored against Cardiff.
It's just like a new kind of moment to relish in each game. I mean, we had our first United hat-trick in 7 years, and now we've got 5-2. You rarely see those score lines of United, so I cannot wait for the next game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we're expecting more goals against Villa, I presume. We'll talk a bit more about that at the minute. But Emma, what did you think about the Bournemouth game?
I really enjoyed it. It was enjoyable to watch. A bit like Sarah says, it kind of reminds you of the Fergie days when, yes, we conceded, but we went out and scored a lot more than what you scored. It was kind of those that feel about the game. Like when we conceded, our heads didn't get down. We just carried on and just scored. I mean, it wasn't even little tapping goals either, was it? We had some cracking goals. I really couldn't pick out them, but I think Martial tops it. But yeah, absolutely amazing. I was really happy with that.
I agree. I think, like I said, positivity, as fans, we felt it for a bit now, but you could see it on the pitch, I thought, the other day. Even when we went a goal down, I never had that feeling of doubt that we were going to lose the game. Even when we went a goal down, I still fully believe that we were going to bounce back, and that's the positivity that we've got at the moment around. Meg, what was your take on it? Did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy it. I was going to mention the I'm going to call it an embarrassing mistake, because I think Maguire will just be embarrassed about what happened. They didn't. After that, they didn't look like really they were imposing any more threats on us. Well, we're scoring 5, but that I just wish we'd cut that bit out. Almost, we don't need to go a goal down to then kick us up the arse to actually get going. But it did kick us up the arse, didn't it? Because I think the performance as a whole was really good, apart from that little embarrassing mistake to start with. But I absolutely loved it. It's a joy to watch. Zara said it feels like a new era, and it does. You feel like you've got that buzz again about Manchester United, and I think they will be as well, but they will be a formidable side. And I think teams that are going to go against them, I've got something to fear now, because I think we kind of lost that. We lost that fear factor. Manchester United, it wasn't, when teams were coming to Old Trafford, I feel like we lost that fear of, oh my goodness, we're going to Old Trafford. And I feel like when teams now are going to come up against Manchester United, they've got to play like it's a cup final for them. I think that's how good we've got so far at the moment compared to where we were.
And it certainly feels, doesn't it, obviously the race for top four, like the momentum is in our favour now. It feels like it's swinging towards United. Players, obviously, that were injured have come back fit, but they've hit the ground running as well. I know Rashford, who said, it seemed a bit off the pace, seemed sloppy, but for me, I thought the other day he played quality. I thought he had a few decent passes. Obviously, Bruno should have scored from one of them, and I thought if Rashford got involved in the game a bit more, scored a penalty as well. He was unlucky not to have another goal, but was obviously ruled offside. And I just think that everything seems to be clicking into place for United at the minute. Leicester, obviously, people believe that we can catch them. And if we keep performing like that, Nicole, do you doubt it?
No, not at all. Like when we first did our predictions, everyone thought I was crazy. Not you girls, but like I was overly optimistic for saying we can get third. But I think it's achievable now. As Meg was saying, to me, Old Trafford used to be and should still be like a fortress. It should be players and teams fear to come there. And I think to me, if I think of Manchester United, yeah, I want to see attractive football, but I think it's also about resilience. And when you get knocked back down, it's a response. That is everything. And the United that I seen the other day that came back, that would not have happened a year or two ago. We would have sat back, probably played for a draw, and it would have been frustrating to watch. And it's that bit of old school with the new school. Do you know what I mean? Bringing what the United is supposed to be, but under Ole, he's doing it his way.
Yeah, and United for Life made a good point there. Said that Ole's man management brings a response regardless of whether we go behind or not. I did feel like even though we went a goal behind, it was inevitable we were going to come back. And I think I haven't felt that positive for a long, long time. And I think Ole deserves credit. I'm just wondering if you girls saw that little clip of Ole as well, giving Maguire, I think it was Maguire or De Gea, the death stare. A lot of people think Ole hasn't got a backbone. But after seeing that, I would say he has, Zara. Did you see it?
I see him as a dark horse, me. I mean, you can never underestimate the quiet ones.
They're the worst.
Yeah, you just can't. I mean, I've always thought that Ollie seems like really sweet and kind, but it's one of them that I feel like if he was to get angry at any point, because you're so used to him being nice, it'd probably scare you a bit more, and you'd be like, you know, the way that, for instance, if someone tells you off, but they're more disappointed rather than angry at you, so it affects you more. I feel like that would be Ollie all over. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, Meg, I don't know if you saw that clip of Ollie. There was one of as well not so long back with Jesse Lingard, and he's saying one more and you're off. I saw that one as well. He's got a ruthless side to him, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has, but I also think he allows the players to go and play, and that's why I think people class him as being soft, because he allows the players to go and express themselves, and he's not afraid of them to fail. Like, he lets them fail because sometimes you have to try things. You don't want them to be so rigid that you can't have we talk about this fluid movement at the moment with the top three. Well, if he was like so straight on narrow and strict on all the players, you wouldn't have that. So I think it kind of it swings around about, doesn't it? But yeah, you wouldn't get on the wrong side of him. But I think it's like a respectful thing as well. Like, he respects the players, and I think if you cross that line, then he would turn around and he'd have you one.
Yeah, I think I've also there Bruno coming in as well. Obviously, has lifted the mood of the players. Everyone seems happy, including Ollie. But that what you said was a fine balance, isn't there, between having disciplined players and players who are playing within a game plan, and then having players who are not complying with that. And you saw at Spurs yesterday, Son and Lloris having a bit of a tit for tat, a bit of an argument. What's your take on that? Do you think that is down to Jose and his man management? Because a lot of people criticised it. Nicole, what would you say about that?
Well, we was having an argument, not us personally, but the argument was, I think we were split between whether Jose was a problem or whether Pogba was a problem. And now I'm seeing videos of Pogba in the dressing room loving life and everyone loving life around him, the virus. And I'm seeing where Jose's gone, exactly where we was then. So I think I don't really have to say anything. It speaks for itself. I think there's always things behind the scenes we don't know. I can't say exactly whether it's just down to him, but I think actions speak louder than words, and how happy United are right now, not just like professionally but as individuals, it is nice to see, and you can't say that isn't a direct effect of the management.
Yeah, Diesel says, "Oh my God, I'm in heaven. Hope you're all well, ladies." I'm doing well, thank you, Diesel. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you go and check out Claude and the Bansters channel as well, and you'll find Diesel over there. And my dad is in the chat, and he says, "Don't care, we're still going to finish above you." My dad was not as loud. My dad was not as loud when Wolves lost to Arsenal at the weekend. That's all I'm saying on that one. Not as confident then we are. But yeah, Emma, what do you think? Ollie obviously has got a different style to Jose Mourinho. People saying Jose is out of date now, he's out of touch with his players. People were saying that if the players felt scared under Jose Mourinho, we weren't playing free-flowing football like Meg said. Do you think it is? Does he deserve praise for that?
It's a hard one. I think what Meg was saying, I think he is basically right. Like, under Jose, I think it was all a bit rigid. I think they was all a bit scared to make a mistake. Whereas Ollie lets players make a mistake. But when it comes to a stupid mistake like Maguire's done, that's when he kind of puts his foot down and says, basically, look, mate, you messed up there. Give him a bit of a telling off, and then that's it. Whereas, and then they're happy with that and they're respected with that. But with Jose, I think they were just too scared. I think they were just always probably, I don't know what goes in the change room. Maybe it's just shouting, having to go at him all the time. And Ollie, I think, comes across a bit different. He kind of like talks to players a lot more, I think.
A bit more man management style, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it is. I think in like Jose's style, it was discipline. Like every player has this like specific role. It was quite a rigid system, wasn't it? Whereas Ollie, it seems like he wants that free flowing football. He wants the front three to intertwine, and obviously, football has changed as well. We know that you have to play forward, you have to take risks in your passes. Bruno does that. Obviously, he gives the ball away quite a lot, but it's because he's trying to make stuff happen, and you appreciate that as fans. And I think Ollie appreciates that as a coach as well. I don't think Jose appreciated that because he was very much keep the ball. He didn't like that risk taking. Don says, so Bruno saw you tweet to Rashford, so he let Rashford take the penalty. I know, Don, how kind was that of Bruno Fernandes? I love him even more now for that. But yeah, Rashford getting a goal, though, is a big point because obviously people say stick to your penalty taker. Bruno is the penalty taker, and that's the way that it should be. But what do you think about, was he right to let Rashford take it in terms of his confidence? Because you do fear, what if he would have missed? It could have gone horribly wrong. Zarah, what is your take on that?
Well, the thing is, my kind of take on penalties is that, say even if he did miss it, the next time there's a penalty again, he'd have to just do it again just to get it out of his head. Because if you leave a player to not score a penalty for the longest amount of time, to not even get a goal under his belt when they are that attacking forward, then they're going to lose confidence naturally. So I think it was the right call to just put him in that position, just to let him have it and see what he can do. Yeah,
because obviously before Bruno came, Rashford ideally was the taker, wasn't he, predominantly? And obviously Rashford got injured. But yeah, Meg, what's your take? And who would you choose if you had to choose Bruno or Fernandes? Who would Bruno or Rashford?
Good, it's two of him.
Yeah, it's well be, to be fair. Imagine have 11 of him. But yeah, who would you rather have having the penalties?
I tweeted about this saying I actually quite like that there's a multiple penalty taker because I like the fact that you've got a player who we all said that Rashford needed a goal to kickstart this Project Restart area thing for him. So I'm glad that he was able to step up and take a penalty. Now, if Bruno wasn't on the pitch and you only had Bruno as number one, no one else took one, if he wasn't on the pitch, you've got someone then who hasn't taken a penalty in a match situation, which is extremely different to training for God knows how long. So I like the fact that we've mixed it up. I also think it throws the goalkeeper off as well. The opposition, they don't know who's going to be taking the penalty. It means they've got more information that they need to look at to work out who's taking who and who's taking what and which way they normally go. I'm happy for either of them to take them alongside Pogba as well because I know that he's taken penalties before.
I can't deal with that. I can't deal with it.
But as long as they are confident in taking the penalties, and we've got numerous players that will take them, and they know prior to the game, which I would prefer. So if they're going to mix it up, it's told prior to the game. It's not kind of sorted out on the pitch, and they look like they're arguing or they don't know what's going on. But I'm quite happy with multiple penalty takers, and I think it's actually a good thing to have.
Cool. Massive thank you to Ryan Berber, spin 9. He's obviously sent us a super chat. Big love for that. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support. But yeah, in terms of Rashford, I think is proving he can take penalties, definitely. Tim Krul, I think, was a game I remember in particular when Rashford missed, but most of the time I am confident that he's going to score. And the same for Bruno as well. I agree with you, I think, and like Matt says there, it makes it harder for keepers to predict if you've got multiple penalty takers. You know what it's like if a keeper always does the research, especially in the Premier League. And if you're having to look at multiple players, it makes their job a lot harder as well. And also mentally as well, I think it automatically puts a bit of doubt into the keeper's mind. But Emma, are you happy with the rotation of the penalty takers?
Do you know what? I'm more than happy. I think what they should do is, say it's the three of them, until they miss, they carry on taking the penalty, I think. And then once they miss, goes on to the next person. Then it kind of goes round in a circle.
Yeah.
Maybe to make it a bit fairer, but that's how I would do it anyway.
Yeah, Max says Zarah is a mank. Yes, she definitely is. She's not a gunner that I've seen in the chat. Definitely not.
Yeah, I've been a bit confused, to be honest. I mean, at times I've been thinking, do I blink or not blink? But my eyes are a little bit sorry. So, everyone in the chat, I am a United fan, so I don't need to worry about Arsenal.
Apologies, you can't all have Zarah. She's a United fan. But yeah, we'll talk about penalties on Rashford, obviously, that major one in PSG. That took some guts for him to take that penalty. And yeah, I think ever since that point, really, I've always been a firm believer that Rashford can take penalties. But Bruno's come in, has his little skip before he takes it as well. I kind of love how he takes them. So I'm happy with the rotation. But yeah, Nicole, obviously, we banged in 5 against Bournemouth. Are you expecting us to get more goals against a poor Aston Villa side?
Yeah, but I keep saying this, like I was right the last time, but yeah, I think we should do, and I think as we were saying the other day, I think I was watching you and Meg because I get mixed up. It easily happens. That goal difference is so important because the top four, there's like that much in it. There's like 2 points to fourth, 3 points to third. Goal difference is everything, and when it comes down to it, especially we've got Leicester last game of the season, it's very, very important for the sake of that, and also because I really want to see goals. And now that we've started, hopefully we've set something alight and it will continue. Because, like I said, these are all reminders of the United I fell in love with, and but doing it in the modern day, which I think is a lot more difficult to do. So yeah, I'm expecting it, and I want it, but we'll see. Yeah,
Amy said that as well. I love that we have so many players that can score for us. So Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford, Igalo. That is a thing that I love as well. So many times we've relied on certain players to get the goals. It's very much mixed, isn't it? Like, throughout our front line, throughout our attacking players, like any of them can bag. And I love that feeling. Abel says, Greenwood, I've said it from the beginning, we don't need another striker. This lad is ready. Meg, do you think Greenwood is ready?
I agree with the fact that I think Greenwood is ready. I think he's proven himself. But I don't agree with the fact that we should now just rely on that. Because you need healthy competition, and if you get someone like Sancho in, that's not just healthy, but that is fantastic competition to have in. It pushes players to their best. They've got to excel to get picked. Now, if they play and they play well, then you keep your place. Simple as. So you've got to have a bit of competition to get the best out of players. We have at times been through this in this season, where we've had to rely on players regardless of whether they are playing well or not. If they've had a poor game, they're still playing the next game because we haven't got the competition or the players to bring in. So I agree that Greenwood is ready for the Premier League. He's proven it. You can't say that he's not now because he's took his opportunity. But I do feel that we still need to invest in another striker or someone who can play on the wing to push other players.
Yeah, Sancho obviously is one of the players that is talked about like a priority signing. He obviously adds quality onto that right-hand side. We've obviously Greenwood's been playing there, and I think he's done wonders there. Do you think now in the long run, and I'll ask you first, Emma, do you think like Greenwood, rather than being a striker, could he maybe end up holding that position as his own on that right-hand side?
Do you know what? I think he could. He's got a potential, hasn't he? And he's got the talent. Yeah, 100%.
I think he's got it, you know. I think the way he can go on both feet, the way his technical ability obviously cuts in and he hits a target pretty much every time. He's just so clinical, and I'll try not to get hyped up on him because I hate it when we overhype our young English players.
That's what I'm trying.
We've seen it happen so much, but the more I watch, the more I can feel myself getting sucked in. Like I want to just say, like, this kid is class. Exactly. Yeah. And the way that
I think the hype is. The thing is that, like, with these young players, is that they've got this fire in the belly. And I remember, like, so obviously I work for Salford City Football Club, so I'm just going off memory here. But I'm just talking about, like we have a player called Brandon Thompson-Sante, and he's a young lad, and he kind of like there was a chance for him to come into the team halfway through the season, and he just took it, and he's been scoring ever since. It's been unbelievable, and it happens in every single team. These young players are seeing these well-known, league-proven players do what they can do, and they're trying to copy that but do it 10 times better. And I like the idea at United that, like what Meg said, that getting these competitive players in the squad so that the squad is kind of always changing. We need to have a squad where all the players are at that calibre. So when you are swapping and changing them, they've still got the fire in the bellies, and they can, and you still have that ultimate strong squad. And that's what we need to focus on. And Greenwood has just been phenomenal. And I feel like that new fire with Pogba and Bruno being at the level that they are, he's thinking, I want to be part of that, and I want to play with the best of the best. So I need to do really well.
Amazing opportunity for him at that age to be playing with players like Pogba and Bruno, and having that opportunity, because like for such a young person, that's an incredible opportunity to be training and playing with those kind of players who are, well, Pogba's a World Cup winner, you know, so it's fantastic for him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of them, like with like Greenwood as well. So like he'll see that, and maybe he can think that he can achieve that one day. But the really good thing about having other players maybe coming into the squad and us in like transfers getting more like kind of forwards and stuff, things like that, that isn't a bad thing, because you won't burn a kid out then. The kid won't be burnt out, and they can still work on their talent. I mean, that was the beauty when we had like Zlatan in the squad. He was working with players like Rashford in training and stuff, and having like one-to-one and being by their side all the time. So because of that, it'll be something that Greenwood can work on and relate to, and just be really proud of playing for the badge. And I think that's what we've missed for a good many years, that players haven't been playing for the badge, and you can really see that now. Hiya, Meg, nice to have you back.
Literally just like, you're out, and I was like, okay, bye everyone.
A bit of a change of formation there, but we're back.
Sorry, mate, I'm on the right wing, you're on the left, so it's all good.
We're interchangeable, aren't we? Look,
we're the daily blend of the squad.
That's it, versatile. But yeah, I think with Greenwood, obviously the world is his oyster. I think he's shown that he's got so much potential, so much talent. The maturity about him as well. Like, he's trusting with the ball. He rarely gives it away. And I just think that he's going from strength to strength. And like I said, I try my hardest not to get sucked in, but the more you watch, the more he scores goals. He shows how clinical he is. Nicole, it's hard to not get hyped up, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to be calm, because, and I don't think it does them any favors. We should always give praise. I always say credit where it's due, because you give criticism where it's due. But there's a difference between giving credit and then putting pressure on someone. And I think it's like, I'm still like, yeah, but he's 18. Like, sometimes it's hard to believe. And then I seen like that shirt that I wore on last week's show, the white one, I seen a picture of him in it, and he's like a little tiny kid on it, and I'm like, whoa, I was in my... Do you know what I mean? And that's when it dawns on me, and I'm just like, I think, like Zarah said, it's that mentality of that they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. They're playing for one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world, and they're getting all this accolade, and rightly so. But I think he has the ability, but I just think we just need to take it one game at a time. I certainly wouldn't drop him, because I think that would do more harm than good.
Yeah, I think Greenwood, obviously we don't want to overhype and burn him out. I think Zara made a good point. Meg mentioned it as well, competition in the squad is healthy. We need someone to be pushing Greenwood now, because Dan James has said he's a squad player, but if you look at someone like Sancho coming in, you can look at it two ways. He could come in, he could hinder Greenwood's progress, but we've already said Greenwood can play anywhere along that front line, really. He's both-footed, he can play anywhere there. And I think that goes in his favour as a young player coming into this United squad where we are searching for quality. He can play any one of those three positions, and that's only going to go in his favour. If someone like Sancho comes in, that's not going to cut Greenwood out of the team for me. Greenwood will just have to get one of the other spots, and that's where Martial obviously needs to keep performing, because Greenwood's going to be pushing for that striker spot, and likewise with Rashford as well. And I think having that competition, especially from our front line, we've got goals in there, it's just going to make it even better.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it? It's like we were talking about midfield. They're all good problems to have, when we used to be moaning about a lot worse things a few seasons ago. So it's all good.
Completely agree, but we've said that Aston Villa is coming up next. We've said that we expect goals. But do you expect changes to the lineup, or do you think Ollie's going to go out all out with that strong lineup again? I mean, the one doubt you could say is Lindelof, because he came out. I'm not sure what kind of condition he's in. I think it was a back injury, what he got. So I'd probably say Boye may start. But other than that, can you see any other changes? And I'll start with you, Meg.
Not really. I mean, Bailly was a bit reckless. The first thing he did against Bournemouth was give the pen away, and you just
To be
sat there
fair,
thinking,
though,
like,
that
what-
whole sequence of play.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't Bailly, it was Matic with that back pass, like, really tested him. Like, he's just, come on, mate, give him a chance. Like,
Yeah.
literally
The whole
fired it
sequence
at him
was
and
just
said,
comical.
deal with it. Like, but no, I think because of the opportunity that we've got to progress, I mean, with Leicester and Chelsea playing tonight, we will know what we need to do on Thursday. We're either going to be able to overtake them into the 3rd or 4th position, depending on results tonight, or we need to maintain the fact that we need to stay within one game of reaching them. So I like the fact that they're playing first, so we can see what we've got to do. But I think that Ollie will send out the same 11. If he doesn't, I'd be quite shocked. I just feel like we need to keep that momentum going at the moment.
Yeah, and we said, didn't we? We would rather see Ollie put his strongest 11 out, get the goals across the line, get the game in the bag, and then bring obviously the key players off. And I would rather do that definitely. But Emma, what would you do? Would you make any changes?
No, keep it. Sorry, baby's crying then. Keep it exactly the same. Keep our strongest team out because there's no point in changing it. We're scoring goals with our strongest team, get the goals, and then, like you said, just take our key players off to rest and bring our subs.
Yeah, exactly. We've got players like Aguilo who definitely can come on and cause problems for Villa. We know he's got a goal in him as well. But Nicole, what would you do? Would you keep the same 11?
I keep repeating myself. I sound like a parrot, but I keep saying if it isn't broke, don't try and fix it. And we need to treat every game with respect. It don't, like we keep saying, it doesn't matter how easy it appears on paper, treat every game with respect. And I think Ollie even said something similar the other week. He's obviously been watching, bless him. In regards to Lindelof, like I know he's got a slight injury, but I was reading what Ollie was saying before, and he was like, he might play, but he might not, but he might play. And I'm like, I think he will, mate. I think he's having a little bit of fun to keep everyone intrigued.
I was laughing because the amazing players that we have had, Phil Jones springs to mind for me, and he's got a lot of stick. And then Matic, obviously, has just been given a new deal. I'm seeing a few people in chat talking about Ricky from the United stand. Ricky, I was talking to the other night, and he got a bit intense, I must admit, between some of the United stand. Like, it's quite funny. But what do you think it's a good deal for United, this Matic extension on his contract? Emma, what's your take on Matic?
I'm just confused about these 3-year contracts, because back in the day, when they hit a certain age, it was only like a year, wasn't it? So I'm not sure why it's gone to 3 years, but I mean, like, it's a good deal. He's come back, proved himself, worked his socks off to get back in the team, get his plays back. So if he keeps that going, then yeah, I don't see a problem. So, but after a year, after 2 years, is he going to decline? I don't know. Yeah. But then he's good for coming off the bench if he does decline like that. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
I think you automatically jump the gun and think, 3 years, that seems a long time. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's starting for United for 3 years, does it? I think what will happen with Matic, he'll gradually filter out and become more of a rotation player, more of that experienced member. Don't forget, obviously, he played at a high level at Chelsea as well before United. He's been around in the Prem for a long time. He's a well-experienced footballer. I just think that he's got more of a role within the club, within the dressing room, than just being a player for 3 years. I think there's more to that deal. And I kind of understand it from that point of view. Meg, what's your take on it?
I agree with what you just said about. I feel like he's all by the end of it might be like what we've got with Mata at the moment, where he's kind of filtered back out. But players like Mata and Matic are really important, especially if we're looking at, like, we've got a youthful team. So it's nice to have that bit of an older head and more experienced head within the changing rooms. But I probably would have perhaps gone for more like a 2-year deal with the option of like a 1-year extension if United trigger it, because you don't know what's going to happen over the next 2 years. We do look at that trio in midfield and think Bruno and Pogba probably your starters, and then Matic. You look at the level of Bruno and Pogba, and then you look at the level of Matic. And I'm not saying that he's a bad player, but I'm probably the weaker person in that three and older. So I'll probably have done the 2 years with a 1-year extension, but important to have players like that in and around the team.
Completely agree with that. Zara, are you happy with the Matic deal?
I'm happy with it. I think the thing that's going to be hard for fans to hear is that, unfortunately, football is a business. So I think having like that 3-year deal in my head, I'm thinking maybe they've gone for that. So then after, like, for instance, Meg said, like, the 2 years, and then would they get rid of him then? And maybe make sure when they put it in the deal that other teams are having to pay for that, like, that extra year and that contract, so it transfers across, so they get more money for him and it's more guaranteed. Maybe that's the way that they've thought it through. But I feel like Matic is really valuable. I think people that have, like, slated the deal, I think they're being a bit too keen at jumping the gun in it. I think it's really important that we have these experienced players in the squad, because I'm all for having the youth have their run at it and seeing what they're about. But at the end of the day, they all need some guidance. I mean, they have that manager, they have Ollie, they have, like, the coaches off the pitch, but who do they have on the pitch to help them? If something was really going wrong, then they're all inexperienced if it was all the youth. So someone with that much experience who's a great player is really needed.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like good for the treasury, Matic. He seems like kind of guy who gets on with everyone as well. Low-key goes under the radar a little bit, but I think he seems got, I know he's had the experience as well, obviously, but not just for the youth as well. For players like Fred, who obviously want to get into that midfield, Matic is showing them at the minute, this is how you play that discipline role. McTominay as well is another example. This is what you need to do to allow Bruno and Pogba to go. And I think that hopefully they can learn from him as well. But I completely agree with the deal. 3 years, yes, of course, you'd probably argue it should be less. But like I say, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's staying and he's playing and he's starting for United for 3 years, does it? I think he'll gradually fizzle out and become more of a rotation player. But Aston Villa, then, I'm going to ask you guys for your score predictions. I'm guaranteeing that nobody would have predicted 5-2 on Saturday. So I'm interested to see what the predictions are for this one. But I'll start with you, Nicole. What are you going for?
Why always me? 4-0. I've said 4-0 3 times. I know this is the third time I've said it. Third time lucky. 4-0. Let's have it.
I hope you're spot on with that, Nicole, as well. Emma, what are you saying?
I'm going 3-1.
3-1.
Just because our back's a bit suspect at the moment, and if we do concede, I think it'll only be 1. So yeah, I think we'll get 3.
Well, I think you have that little bit of doubt because I know we've got Grealish who's already scored against us, and we all know playing against. Yeah, it was a great goal, but playing against United, it's like a cup final. We already know Villa are fighting to stay up as well, so I don't think you can write them off completely. But you just feel that we've got too much quality going forwards. Zara, what score are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for 3-0 because my thought process is that we've got the win now, but the main thing we need to focus on is getting that clean sheet to give some confidence to the back. And I feel that's what's really neat. So I feel they'll focus on that more. Like, the 5 goals were great, but at the end of the day, we all want a clean sheet. We all want to show that we are that force to be reckoned with, and we don't have any weak parts. Even though we might do, we need to show that on a score sheet that we don't have any weak parts. So I feel like 3-0 is a good score prediction.
Cool. I said on my fan cam the other day, I said that I'm happy for seeing this all-out attack. Attack is the best form of defence football. Like, as long as we outscore the opposition, I know Meg is a centre-back and she'll be like, no, clean sheets, we need a clean sheet. For me, I'm all out. As long as we outscore them, it's entertaining to watch. I've missed that for a long time at United, so I'm like, yeah. But, of course, a clean sheet is better for everybody and better for us in the long run in terms of our goal difference. But, Meg, centre-back, what score are you going for?
Do you know, it's funny because you were talking about clean sheets, and I was actually going to go for a 3-1 because I don't think you can write Villa off. But then Emma went for 3-1, so I was like, right, I'll be different. I'll go for 3-0. So Zara went for 3-0. So I'm a little bit lost about what I'm going to say.
I mean, me and you were versatile, mate, didn't we? We swapped formations. We can do the same thing.
I thought, I wasn't going to write Villa off, obviously, but I feel like they've obviously got something to play for. But I would like to see a clean sheet, just tidy them little mistakes up, not get nutmegged in the 6-yard box, which would be really great.
You know what, though? I know that we give Maguire stick. Get my teeth out. But watching it, I must admit, it was good skill, though. I mean, De Gea should never get beaten there. It's a bit like the Coutinho goal where he beat him at the near post. It reminded me of that finish. But it was good skill from the player. Maguire, you expect better from him. He went charging over like he was going to make a tackle, and he sent him for a hot dog or whatever you want to call it. But
you just know what the first words were out of Maguire's mouth.
Yeah, and everyone else is, no doubt. I'm sure he heard it from the others. When he won, I'm sure he heard it. But I do think, give the striker some credit as well. I think it was a good goal, and I think a lot of people judged Maguire harshly when actually I thought it was good skill.
Just needs to close, shut his legs.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm going to stick with what Zara said, and I'm going to go for a 3-0.
3-0. Andrew says Meg is a better centre back than Maguire. Pass it on. Yeah, Meg doesn't get Megs like that, definitely. Meg.
How about that life?
Doug is Glass Station United for life. Doug is Glass, and big up to Doug who's in the chat. I know he's at work at the moment, so thank you for tuning in, Doug. We appreciate it. Apparently, Crystal Palace have scored. If someone can confirm that as well, I'd appreciate that. Come on, Palace. But yeah, we have to focus on us though, don't we? So because of what we are fighting for as a team, and because the momentum seems with us, we're going to talk about the Dan James dancing clip in a minute as well, because I think that just typifies what United is about right now. Everyone's feeling positive. I'm expecting. Apparently, Zaha scored, by the way, girls. It is true.
I'm saying, everyone's
it's amazing.
I've got a sidetrack looking at that.
Again, I'm that I need to see this goal now.
But I think that we've got enough quality. I'm going to say a 4-0, actually. I'm going to go with Nicole scoreline. 4-0. I'm hoping we're not going to concede. I'm hoping Maguire's kind of wants to make up for what happened the other day. It's just whether if Boye starts with
and
Maguire,
not get the dad stare off Solskjaer.
Yeah, that'll be enough to scare anybody, to be fair. But yeah, I'm hoping that if it is Boye who starts, Boye starting from the start rather than coming into a game, I think that he'll settle a lot quicker, because he did look, bless him, I know that Matic pass was a bit dodgy as well, but even just before that, Boye looked like he was on another planet for a little bit, bless him. He looked like he just stumbled upon the pitch. He didn't know where he'd come from, why he got there, like, didn't know what day it was.
He looked like how we'll look when we can go back to Old Trafford.
You know what? The dogs where they like put them in the trap and then they let them go, and it's all like hell for leather. That's what he come out like he'd been let out of the little dugout and he was off and he was onto the pitch and he was just off.
Yeah, but I think if he starts alongside Maguire, having a proper warm up and everything, he'll be in the zone, and I think he'll be better from the start rather than some players struggle coming on as a sub, and I think especially centre backs, it is hard to come on in the game as sub, and I just think Boye just took him a while to get up to speed, but he was fine after. But like I said, the pass from Matic, that whole phase of play, I think it was dodgy from Maguire just before it as well. It's better off forgetting about that phase play. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 4-0. I'm hoping that Rashford scores again as well. Hopefully he gets a bit of form now. But yeah, excited for it. But we've spoken about Maguire, Boye, Lindelof possibly being injured. Apparently at the end of the game the other day, Solskjaer went up to Nathan Ake and he said, I need a left-footed centre-back. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, I'm not quoting this. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not sure if that is what he said. But if he has said that, do you girls think Nathan Ake could be someone who could partner Maguire at the back? And bear in mind, from what I believe, does Maguire play to the left of the centre-backs? I think he does. Yeah. So does that mean that Maguire would move across to the right to have Ake there? I mean, it's all, like I say, it's not confirmed. We're just purely discussing what rumours are about at the moment. But Meg, you're a centre-back, so I'll start with you. Do you think Ake has got what it takes?
I don't think he's an improvement. I think perhaps he might be someone that could come in, but I don't think right now. I feel like if you're going to look at those teams that are going down, they're going down for a reason. Are we looking at them and thinking, well, he's going to solve our problems when he's in a team that's conceded goals and has let goals in and therefore being relegated from the Premier League? I feel like if you're going to get players to come into your team, you want to get players who are going to start. You want to get players who are going to be in that starting 11. And I don't think right now, for me, that Ake comes in and automatically gets a spot. So probably not this transfer window. I'd like to see him for another year to see where he goes, really.
Yeah, Abdul, thank you so much for the super chat. So it's a lovely conversation, ladies. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for supporting us. Really do appreciate it. But in terms of Ake, I think he's a decent centre-back. I'm a bit like you, Meg, in the sense that I don't think he's world-class. Potential to improve, maybe if he comes to a club like United playing alongside someone like Maguire. Yes, because he's been in a Bournemouth team that's been fairly poor over the last few years. And obviously they look like they could get relegated. And if they get relegated, you might say that he'd be up for a fairly decent price. And I think that obviously would come into it as well. But I'm more thinking is Ake somebody who would be more of that rotation player? Are they hoping that Tuanzebe, Lindelof are enough? It's an interesting one. Nicole, what's your thoughts on him?
I pretty much second and third what you just said. I'm not overly excited about it. I understand the reasons behind it. Obviously, he's versatile. He's played in the Premier League, and then on a business side of things, I've like speculation. Of course, I've read that we could possibly get him for 20 million, which is in today's football is like change, really, isn't it? So I would have no issue if Ole just wanted to bulk the squad up and had options and rotation. But I personally think for me, when we've been talking about the defence and at centre, but I personally think we need to be going for world-class players. We need to be going forward, not where we are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying to think now what centre-backs are there out there who possibly we might be able to get, aren't too pricey and would be good enough. And there's not a lot in terms of... Julie Barley is one that's mentioned.
I feel really bad, guys, but I think I kind of disagree with some of yous.
What's your take on Ake, Zara?
My kind of thought process is I'm thinking that Ollie was in that kind of team where not every single player was a world-class player.
Of course.
So that's what he knows. However, the teams that he was part of were these ultimately famous teams that weren't all the world-class players, but were world-class in their chemistry and their connection with each other.
I agree.
And I feel like because of Ollie's experience, is that what he's trying to replicate now that he's manager of United? And I feel like that's what he's doing, because you look at like when he wants to promote, like, for instance, Greenwood and give him a chance kind of thing. He wants to see how these players play and that attacking formation. I mean, and I always use Anderson as an example. Anderson was not a world-class player, but he was part of a Premier League winning side. And I feel like we can't take the fact that Ake is part of a relegation battle kind of team, because you never know what goes on behind the scenes. You never know what kind of coaching they have. We don't know that. And him having United coaching and that kind of style of training ground, it could be a whole different ball game with him. So it's one of them that I feel like with this new United change, any person that they go for, I'd probably just be happy and just go, you know what, I'll just give it a chance and see what happens, because you can't really, in my eyes, I feel like you can't really knock him before he's even started, because Ollie has come from that way where any player that has the hard working ethic is someone that we want at the club. We don't want a team full of egos, and that is the biggest issue when you want every single player to be world class, in my eyes.
I agree, and I was going to make the comparison of players like James Milner, Jordan Henderson. You wouldn't necessarily say they're world class players, but in Klopp's system at Liverpool, like, they do the job, and obviously they understand what Klopp wants from the players. They've got that leadership about them. I think Ake is one of these players where, like I say, he hasn't hit full potential yet, but he's been in a poor Bournemouth team. He's going to be given a break somewhere along the line. That's what has to happen for him to make it. And maybe we're that team who can give him the break. Like, I'm not someone who would write him off straight away. Like you say, Zara, don't knock it until he's had a game and you've tried him. Because I think he has got potential there. I think playing with someone experienced like Maguire would help him. He hasn't really had a quality partner at Bournemouth, has he, when you look at the players he's had around him. And I think Ake has done a decent job at Bournemouth. And I think for the price that we'd be able to get him for, you look at players like Phil Jones, who obviously they haven't got a long time left at United. I would sooner get someone in like Ake to rotate with than someone like Phil Jones, who is reaching the end of his career, whereas Ake has still got years where he can progress. And that's why I actually wouldn't mind the signing. I think Tuanzebe is a player I want to see more of. Obviously, he's had a few injury issues, and I'm just hoping he can overcome them, because he's a player that, like we've said about Greenwood, Tuanzebe at the back, I think he could definitely be a player in the long run that we could be turning to. But Emma, what do you rate Ake? Would you take him at United?
Yeah, I would. How I see it is we ain't going to sign a world-class centre-back. So if we can get him for 20 mil, perfect. Do you know what? I think he's done a decent job at Bournemouth. Yeah, they're leaking goals, but that's not solely on him. Him as just a player has actually been really good. And I think if he played alongside Maguire, it would accommodate Maguire, because he's got a bit of pace to him where Maguire hasn't. So I'd think he'd work perfectly there. And plus, it'd make the others competition for him. So it'd be great squad depth for him as well. So, yeah, I would take him, 100%.
Yeah.
It's one of them that if we have a world-class player or something, because for 20 mil, you'll probably have some spare transfer budget to get someone else. If you have a world-class player there and then Ake ends up being better in one of the games, that's going to make the one think, oh, no, I have a reputation to uphold here. So it's going to form this amazing competitiveness. But a kind of family thing too, because they're going to bounce off each other, and I feel like it would work really well at United.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've always had players like that from who've just understood the manager, loved obviously United and everything about the club. No egos there to disrupt the balance as well. And I completely agree with that. And like I said, I wouldn't write it as long as we don't overpay. I'm not saying I would spend 50 million on Ake. I think as long as we get him for a cut deal, because obviously Bournemouth look like they're going down, I think it's worth a shot, definitely. And like you say, Ollie, I've said the signings he has made so far, he hasn't had a bad buy. He has not had one bad buy. And so that's why I think we need to trust him a little bit as well. And if he wants Ake to be the guy, then let Ake be the guy and let's try him out.
So, quick side note: them videos where you listen in, like the nosy person in me, I'm just obsessed with him. I just want to see him constantly. I just want to see what all they're saying, what they're all having to go at each other about. Just a quick side note.
Just like a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I could watch that. I don't watch telly. I could watch that all day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we hear like Upamecano is a player that people want us to get. Again, he's young. We haven't seen him in the Premier League, so we don't know how he's going to turn out. That would be a risk as well, just as much as we're saying Ake would be a risk. I think any signing that we get is going to be a risk, especially when you're looking at a centre-back and you need the right partner to complement who you've already got. It is a tricky one, and like I say, I think we just need to trust Ollie with that one, as long as we don't overpay. But again, that's down to the board and how much they want to spend, isn't it? So it's one of them. But Dan James and his little dance moves that we've seen all on social media, him and Pogba having a bit of a dance-off. He's trying to get, obviously, the culture of the dancing. We've seen Pogba do videos like this in the past, and we've seen him get stick for it. And I mean a lot of stick. People saying get out of United because he's laughing and he's smiling and he's dancing. And yeah, granted, sometimes it's probably bad timing when we've just lost or we've had a disappointing draw and Pogba's dancing. But this has come out today, and it seems like the fan base has just been lifted by this. Just Dan James is the person that I would have least expected to see dancing the way he was dancing. But I absolutely loved it, Zarah. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I've got to say, good moves on Dan James there. I mean, I'd like to see him on the town in money. Like, I'm all game for that. But I mean, I think the thing is, and I said it on the last time I was on it, to be fair, if social media was in the days when the Class of 92 were playing, the fans would have been as divided as they have been before when they've seen videos of Pogba dancing and things like that. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter what player it is that's doing this dancing, is smiling or whatever. At the end of the day, if they work hard, and they work hard on the training ground and they work hard on the pitch, then that's the main thing for me. And I feel like if they want to have a laugh, if they want to have that team chemistry, then great, because it shows that they're working as a team. And that's more important to me. And I love the dancing, I have to say. And all the lads you could see in that dressing room loved it too.
Yeah, I loved it. But I think they were bantering him a little bit as well about the fact that he couldn't dance.
Yeah,
They're mocking it.
But I think the thing is that it was good that like you could see they were laughing with each other though. That was the main thing.
Yeah, and also
there were some comments that I've seen that weren't that good from United fans saying like, oh well, Lingard's nowhere to be seen or whatever. And I'm thinking, you know what? There was a long time, a while back now, there was a thing on social media called #BeKind, and I feel like football is one of those places where you forget who's behind that social media wall and that they're seeing it every day. I mean, yeah, they have these PR people and stuff, but they do see things. And I'm so happy that Daniel James has got quite widely a good response to this, because there have been players like Lingard and others who have been absolutely slated for stuff that's even been off the pitch exercising. I feel like we just need to get back to the nice United fan days.
Yeah, and obviously on a personal level, we know that Dan James has had a rough 12 months or so. To see him like that, it's obvious that he's in a good place at United. The players obviously get on with him. I think that lifts the boost of the fans as well, because you're seeing that a player's been through a lot and yet he's still living his best life at the club that obviously he loves. And I love that. I absolutely love it. And I know we've given Pogba a stick, and I think for me it's all about the timing. When you're winning games, when you're playing good football, why not dance on social media? It's like the whole saying, you can walk the walk, you can talk the talk. If you're winning games, it's footballers' personalities at the end of the day, and I would love to see.
But it's one of them, though, is that, like, say if we ended up losing on, like, for instance, the Sunday, but then, for instance, Pogba was dancing on the Monday, maybe his mentality is, you know what, new week, fresh start, let's have this positive mentality for the rest of the week. So then I think then even though it could be a day after a massive loss or whatever, maybe he's thinking, fresh start, I just need to get these negative vibes out of myself and just be all good. And I feel like that we just need to be a bit more chilled with all the players once, because as long as we're winning and stuff, it's all fine. But if we start losing or whatever, they've shown that they are working hard and they just need to switch up tactics.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are too quick to judge it, aren't they? They forget that footballers are human beings. Footballers have still got a life out of football. I guarantee that if football loses a game, they go home and they're in a bit of a struggling in the mood. But just because you see them smiling with their family or with children, playing, having a good time, you don't judge them on it's that they don't care. It's not always that case, is it?
And you never know how people cope, like what the coping mentality is. Someone can be smiling and you think they're having the time of life. They could be struggling more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I mean the dancing and stuff like that. I'll be honest, like I quite like seeing that personality from the players and that side of it, the fun side of it. It's more if you see a player flirting with another club, then that's different, isn't it? That's when, as a fan, you think, no, that's too far.
That is different. That's like, you know, there's like a line that you don't cross, and that's like jumping over it on trampoline kind of line. Yeah, and that's the way I see it. I'm looking at the comments, and people are saying Roy Keane would kill them, and I am laughing at that. But to be fair, I'm thinking Roy Keane potentially could kill him. However, like you said, I feel like Roy Keane knows the line. He's very straight to the point. He's a passionate lad, and I think we all respect him for that. But I feel like if it was like kind of like flirting with another team or whatever, then he'd kill them. For this kind of thing, he'd probably go, I'm not going to dance, I'm going to chill here, and you look like an idiot, but fair play kind of thing.
But like, that's part of his personality, though. Like,
yeah, that's
you know, when you see people like Paul Scholes, you don't expect Paul Scholes to get up in the middle of the changing room and start dancing, because that's not his kind of character. Whereas you think with a Pogba, I think he's such a big character, and he gets everyone around him, that if he was just sat there in a strop, that would infect the changing room. He's not. He's up. He's trying to get upbeat. And I think, okay, when you lose, I've lost games, and I can walk out the changing room and I can smile. Now that doesn't mean I'm not pissed off, but it means I've dealt with it in my head. I'm going to go out and I'm going to rectify any mistakes that I've made on the next one. I can't just sit there and let this negativity breed inside. And it's like Pogba. You can see him. I feel like he is like the soul of that kind of team, of the upbeat kind of let's pick him up. And I feel like that kind of gets blinded by some people, where it's like, oh, people look at him and say, you've just lost, you shouldn't be doing that. And I think, well, why shouldn't he? That's his character.
Yeah, you're like, even when you think differently. Yeah, players like Anderson, he always saw having a bit of a dance and stuff, and he was a bit of a joker. Like, every club has got a mixture of personalities. I think it's just the fact that Pogba is such a big name that obviously he gets judged a lot more for that. But I think every change room, everyone's got, I mean, even from players, Meg, me and you obviously playing, in our change rooms, you've got different types of characters. Yeah. Like me and Meg were like the dancers. Me, you and Lindsay were the dancing. We were the Pogbas of the change rooms. But then you'd have others who are more focused. And I think that's just the way it is. But because we know what it's like as footballers, we're in the public eye constantly, Pogba in particular, because of the price that we paid for him. And he just gets judged more so for it. And I think seeing that today, the way Dan James was joining in with it, I think it's made people realise that actually, no, this is a good thing. Like, the cohesive, everyone is enjoying themselves, there's a smile on faces, and more importantly, we're getting the results and we're playing as a team on the pitch now, which obviously before we weren't, and that's why people were frustrated. But Emma, what's your take on the whole dancing situation?
I love it. I love seeing it as a fan, your insight to the dressing room, and if they're doing that in the dressing room, it means they're happy in the dressing room, which means they're going to be happy on the pitch. So I'm all for it. Like you said, you need to stay a little bit focused, but maybe that is that way of dealing with it. If we do lose and the next day there is videos of Pogba dancing, then maybe that is his way of dealing with it, taking the negativity away, fresh start, move on. But yeah, I love the dressing room. It just means that they're happy, which means they're going to be happy on the pitch. So I'm all for it.
And like when you're seeing that, like so straight away, I'm thinking we're bagging some goals in on Thursday. Look how happy we look. Look how much.
Taking the chemistry from the dance floor onto the pitch.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah. I want to see a bit of salsa on the pitch.
I want to see a little bit of rumba.
One of them though, like if we lose, touch wood. I'm just touching wood around me right here. If we lose, I don't want fans to say, "Oh, it's because they were having a dance in the dressing," because I hate that when it happens. Like. Because then you've got players feeling self-conscious, thinking they can't be themselves. Rather than you're making them worry about stuff that's off the pitch rather than on the pitch. And maybe that's just how they're living their life. But like I said, they're still working hard. And that's the main thing. I don't care what they do, as long as they're working hard and they're playing for the badge.
Yeah, I mean, you look at times where David Beckham is a good example, having different haircuts, and people used to stereotype and judge him badly for. There's always players who, as we know, worth a lot of money, a lot of pressure on their shoulders. They're always in the public eye, and they get judged. And I think Pogba's another example. Like, he's a bit wacky, he's a bit different. Does that mean that you judge him differently? No, you appreciate that. And like I say, as long as he's performing on the pitch, I don't see a problem with it at all. I really don't. But I think Beckham was another example of that with his hairdos. I remember the Mohican when he had the cane rows and everyone would lose their shit because they'd be thinking, Beckham's got a different hairdo. I need to go and get my hair done like David Beckham. Even I had cane rows in my hair. Just
I wanted to get hair like David Beckham. I can't deny it.
Sophie. Did you actually?
What?
Did you actually?
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can try and find a picture.
Yeah, you need to find a picture of this. Know everyone.
And I remember
evidence.
It was in the summer, and I remember I had sunburn all in between the braids, and I had to put like after sun in between the braids, like it was so painful. So yeah, I'll need to find a picture of that. But I wanted to be like David Beckham, like I get it.
Beckham wouldn't have been Beckham without it, though, would it? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't change anything about him, and I wouldn't change anything about Pogba either.
I'm going to say, in years to come, I guarantee people will turn around and say literally what you just said. You wouldn't have changed what he did. That's Pogba.
Yeah,
like you're
that's
saying
part
that's what
of
you
the
love about
package.
Beckham. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
what.
like with Beckham at the time, the newspaper headlines were all about slating him, but now that he's not playing, you just wouldn't change a thing about him. And you're right.
Except for the fact that he wore the what do you call it? Like a beach wrap. What do you call it? A sarong.
Oh,
A sarong.
that's it.
I would have changed that.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, though.
Yeah, of course they are.
I'm not sure he pulled that look off, if I'm honest.
He had a few, didn't he? Bless him. But no, I think
all the old players have stuff, don't they? When you think about it,
I'm all
it's
for
like
independence.
even like Scully now. Scully's Insta game is strong. The way he's on his Insta stories, his Insta game is strong, and you wouldn't think that for these players.
It's true. I'm laughing at this comment here as well. So feeling the pain of balding men everywhere from my sunburn between my braids. I feel your pain. I feel for you because it was painful. I remember it. I really do. But yeah, I think as long as they're performing on the pitch, and that goes for Pogba, Dan James, any of them, as long as we're backing it up on the pitch, I really don't see a problem. And I quite enjoy seeing them express themselves a little bit as a team as well. I enjoyed that. And it's just put me in a good mood, ready for the match. So we're all going for a win. We're all going for a few goals as well. Hopefully we keep a clean sheet. Fingers crossed. But I just hope that we see that positive football. I think the combinations we've seen with the players, obviously Bruno has instilled a bit of tenacity as well. I think we're pressing higher as a team, and I think if we do that against Aston Villa, we'll nick the ball high up the pitch, and that's why I'm expecting us to score some goals. But you got the other side of it, obviously. Centre backs, if Lindelof is injured, do we think Boye is good enough to partner Maguire in order to get a clean sheet? And I've got to admit, I do think Boye is good enough. It's just a case of him staying fit, isn't it? But all in all, we're going for a positive outlook. We're all going for a win. So fingers crossed that United can get it. And the last thing I want to say is thank you to all the guests for coming on again. I know it's a different time, but I've enjoyed doing this. So I'll start with you, Nicole. If you could just let people know where they can find you.
Well, we'll find my hand there. Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, you got the right side. Thanks for having me on, Soph. And happy belated birthday again.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. Emma, if you could just shout it and let people know where they can find you as well.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, That United Family, and I'm on Twitter, XMRX88.
Love that. Thank you, Emma. Meg, if you could just let people know where they can find you on social media.
I'm here on Twitter. You can come and find me.
There she is.
I will. Treatment. There you are. You can find me on there.
Love that. And then Zara, again, thank you so much for coming on. If you just let people know where they can find you.
Yep, it's just and then my name there, Zarah Connolly. So
Zarah Connolly.
Simple. I've just gone for the easy one there, haven't I, guys?
And she's definitely a man. She's definitely a red.
Well, to be fair, I'm from Eccles. I've lived in a few different places, to be fair. I'm from Eccles. Technically, it's Greater Manchester in Salford, but I'm actually nearer to Old Trafford than I am to Salford City's ground.
Wow.
I'm literally on the border.
If anyone's in doubt, all they have to do is find that video of me and you outside the Etihad, and that will tell them everything.
They do, to be fair.
We was lost. We was two lost souls.
Yeah. We're at the Football Blogging Awards, and now it's called the Football Content Awards.
Yeah.
And Nicole was pregnant at the time, so I said that I'd give her a lift. And we ended up arriving, and we just said, "What are we doing here? We love these Football Blogging Awards too much."
Yeah.
And that's just how it was. But yeah. I've always been a United fan.
Love that. So yeah, Arsenal fans, just stay clear. She's not coming to Arsenal.
I am confused by the Arsenal fan thing. I am very, very confused.
But what I'll say is we are Arsenal fans tonight because we want them to beat Leicester. So for tonight, Yeah, you can be, because we need Leicester to drop points.
So for me, I'm a different kind of vibe, mate. I always think that just always be a United fan, and if they work hard, then results will come. You shouldn't have to rely on other teams'
Of
results.
course,
But
put your own
that's
first.
just me. Yeah, maybe I've got a bit of that working vibe.
I can't admit to saying that I want Arsenal to win. I can't say it. So
the banter.
I hope it goes our way, but I'm not saying the words.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I agree. But I think either way, if Arsenal lose, yeah, it's not good for us in terms of league, but it's funny for the banter side of things. And if Arsenal win, then
Every cloud.
Yeah, there we go.
Every cloud has a silver lining, don't they?
There we go. Yeah, but girls, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, I really do appreciate it. Guys, if you are new, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment on the video afterwards. If we have missed you in the chat, we do try and get everyone in. And obviously, hit that like on the video as well. Really do appreciate your support, guys. Have a lovely evening. Thank you to everyone again for coming on. Take care. Have a good one.